All right, well, thank you all for joining us this evening again for the next installment of the Lodge 2 interview series. My name is Ariel Gonzalez, and tonight I'm going to be interviewing two of our members, Brother Nathan Hill and Brother William Soloway, or I should say the illustrious William Soloway, and I guess we'll get into that in a minute. But both of you have been involved with our lodge for a number of years. Could you just tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Sure. So thank you very much for giving an Englishman the opportunity to speak at the America 250. So as Ariel said, Brother Nathan Hill. I've been a Mason all of 2 years, so I'm pretty brand new to the whole industry. And it's been a great 2 years. So come November 2025, that will be my 2-year anniversary. Before that, I'd heard about Freemasonry from a couple of English friends who were Masons, but never really had the time or the opportunity in the UK. When I moved to the US 4 years ago now, I started to think a little bit more about perhaps why I might want to join. And through this, I met Bill. But I'll let Bill introduce himself. Bill.
And I'm Bill Soloway, and I've been a Mason for 23 years, coming up in November of 2025. And I am a fourth generation Mason, which means my father is a past master of a lodge here in Philadelphia, as well as my grandfather and my great-grandfather.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes. So I guess you kind of led into it in your introductions, but as far as what gravitated to you to Freemasonry, I guess in your case, you joined because of your family connection, and that's with Houseman Lodge, or no? Frankfurt Brown Lodge now, right? And you said you had 4 generations of members who were all in Philly? Like they were all
part of the Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania.
Okay, cool. So can you just talk a little bit about the connection that you guys have in terms of how you were brought in by, like, how did you meet? How did you connect, and what brought you to Freemasonry?
Sure. Nathan reached out to the Grand Lodge wanting to know more about Pennsylvania Freemasonry, and the Grand Lodge looked what area he lived in, and knowing my background with the United Grand Lodge of England and my relations there, and of course Nathan coming to us from the UK, and us living in the same neighborhood, that brought us together. And I ended up meeting Nathan down here at the Grand Lodge, and we went out for a lunch, and we did a tour of the temple, and we got to learn more about each other and the similarities. And of course, what's interesting is each lodge has its interesting characteristics. And as I explained to Nathan, Lodge 2 is chartered by the United Grand Lodge of England. In fact, it's the oldest lodge in Pennsylvania. So that was something that appealed to him. And of course, he was interested in knowing more about Lodge 2. So
yeah. And of course, not being a Mason, I didn't know the Masons didn't work in the summer. They don't work in the summer. So I sent an email, no one replied. So that's a bit odd, I'm going to give them a call. Called the Grand Lodge. The Grand Secretary answered and said, yeah, nobody's working, but why don't you come down, have a meal, come and meet Bill, who lives in the same town as you, and come and learn what it's about. Because I didn't really know much coming in. But they're a friendly group of guys. Really enjoyed the meal. Highly recommend. If you like eating, being a Mason, you eat a lot. It is one of the main activities outside of all the charitable works that's been done. But yeah, it does put some inches on your waistline. And that's where we met. That was our first meeting. That was 2 years ago. I can't believe that.
Yeah. And of course, our lodge has a mentoring program, which means Nathan wasn't just thrown into this without having some kind of background, having somebody to kind of guide him through what he was about to go through with the 3 degrees.
Yeah.
And I guess also I assume Bill also told you, since we are the oldest lodge in Pennsylvania, that, we kind of got into a bit of a kerfluffle with the English when they were
Yeah.
last year.
Apparently
and now we're coming
so.
and I guess that just really piqued your interest. You're like, well,
So you are very welcoming for an Englishman. I only get a little bit of stick. I also live close to Washington Crossing, so I also get a little bit of winding up from my neighbours as well. But of all the 65 colonies that celebrate their independence from England, I do rate the USA as probably my favourite one.
Well, thank you. I think that. But certainly, I mean, you've been a member for only about 2 years, and also with Bill's mentorship, you've gotten really involved with the fraternity, and you kind of mentioned it before about your involvement with some of the philanthropy that we do here. One of which, I guess, is the Howie's House Home Cooked Heroes thing that you've been spearheading for the past couple. Could you speak to that a little bit?
I'll start and then I'll hand to you because it came from Bill. So, so Howie's House is a wonderful charity that's set up to support folks who are and their families who are undergoing solid organ transplant, because Philadelphia is the place to come if you need a transplant. So the charitable organisation offers accommodation and offers meals for those folks who otherwise perhaps couldn't afford to stay in Philadelphia. It's expensive to stay here. So what we do as Masons, we go and we provide a meal. We go and cook for them, and then we serve that meal for the people who are staying in Howie's House at that time. And that's one of the great things about being a Mason is the charitable work, and that's the bit that I love. So I'm getting more and more involved in the charitable side. So I've taken over looking after Howie's House, and we're adding more charitable works throughout the year, just serving the community that we live in. But it came from Bill, because Bill started that. So. So Bill, you probably want to say why you started at Howie's House, because you've got a great story there.
Sure. So over 10 years ago, I had a heart transplant due to a genetic disorder that I had. And the Masons in Pennsylvania have a program known as the Masonic Blood and Organ Donor Program, which is very unique to the Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania. And the director at the time wanted to meet with me and just talk about my experience. And we hit it off. In fact, it was Brother Ed Budman who was a member of Lodge number 2. And I was a member of Frankfurt Brown Lodge number 751. And because of Brother Ed Budman, we hit it off, and I became what's known as a plural member. You can belong to more than one lodge. And because we were so tight with the program, we added kind of a mentorship, if you will, with any brother or family member that needs a solid organ transplant. I become an advocate and go to the appointments and such. So we have a very extensive program here in Pennsylvania that I'm a part of. And because of the transplant portion, we have a connection with the #1 OPO in the country, which is Gift of Life Donor Program, which is incidentally 2 blocks down from Gift of Life Howie's House. And we do a lot of charitable work with other lodges, not just our lodge, other lodges in the Philadelphia area that go in and do charitable work, mainly cooking meals, but also shuttle drivers and some other things that they request throughout the year. We're there to help. The program also runs blood drives with 5 blood collection agencies all throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So we do a lot of charitable work there with the blood drives. And our lodge, Lodge number 2, is very instrumental in these blood drives. It's one of the top lodges that do blood donations with several blood drives that are held throughout the year. And for every unit of blood that's collected, that's 3 lives that are saved. So we're really proud of the charitable work that we do here in Lodge number 2 with the Blood and Organ Donor Program, with cooking meals, and other charitable work with other organizations throughout the city.
Yeah, and I think it's a really powerful thing. I mean, I know it's championed by our current Grand Master as well, but it's something that we've really taken a lot of time and energy into promoting, not only within our lodge, but also within the district as well. And so thank you for doing that, and also for Brother Bill and Brother Nate for making that possible, particularly Lodge 2's involvement. It sounds like also you have ideas for future, like you're trying to expand also the philanthropic things that we're trying to do in the city. Was charity work one of the things that kind of you were looking for in joining a lodge as well when you?
So there was two main reasons I joined. So a personal reason, and then what I could get, and then what I could give. So what I could get is I could get friends. It is really hard moving to a foreign country as a middle-aged man, older, nearly 50 man. Where do you make friends? It's tough. Your kids are grown up. You don't hang around with other parents anymore. So you join the Masons. So it was either this or ice hockey. Those were my two choices. I decided not to do ice hockey because, again, I'm a bit old and I'll get broken. So I joined the Masons. So it's a good way to make friends. And so that's my personal reason.
Right.
But that's what I get. But what I can give is I can give my time, my energies, my efforts, my monies for the charitable work. Right. And that's where my heart is. So at the moment we serve a lot of meals. We want to serve even more meals. My passion is to work with the homeless and those who are borderline homeless, so that we can supply them both the education that they perhaps need to be able to claim the benefits they can get, as well as perhaps just providing a hot meal for them. So we're going to be looking to do a lot more than we're currently doing. We also do a lot of charitable giving through our organization. So we often give money away to worthwhile causes. So the more that we can do, the better I feel. And I meet a whole new bunch of friends along the way. So that's why I do it.
Yeah, and a key point too is we certainly support a lot of our charitable organizations within the Masonic fraternity, like the DMLA for boys and the Rainbow Girls for girls, right? So that's one of the other interesting things that Nathan and I talked about is the other Masonic appendant bodies. It just doesn't end at what we call Blue Lodge or the first 3 degrees. You can then continue in your Masonic journey to seek other knowledge, Masonic knowledge, through other organizations. And in following in my father's footsteps after I became a Master Mason, I then, after about a year or so, joined the Consistory or the Scottish Rite, which is another appendant body, and went through all the degrees in the Scottish Rite. And then at the time, you had to be in Scottish Rite in order to join the Shriners. And of course, a lot of people are familiar with Shriners Children's, and that is certainly a Masonic philanthropy, and they do great charitable work for children, and I'm proud to be a Mason and be connected with Lulu Shriners. So we have a lot of other Masonic appendant bodies that fit other individuals' needs. We have organizations for veterans, known as the National Sojourners, and there are also women's organizations such as the Eastern Star. So there's really something for everyone in the family when we talk about Freemasonry in Pennsylvania.
And if there's one thing I've learned so I'm doing Scottish Rite as well, but I'm only 2 years in, so I haven't done it all yet. It's mostly teaching you how to be a decent human being, if I could sum it up. So the first 3 degrees that you come through, just check that you are a decent human being coming in, and that you're joining for the right reasons, and then the lessons that you learn afterwards are just very much building up your character as an individual, and everything is positive and good. And I'm only 2 years in, so it's going to be a lot more for me to learn.
Yeah, and we have a motto, right, that goes, we make good men better, right? And that's really what Freemasonry is all about here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I think also touching on so the philanthropy is a very big portion of what we do in the community to give back to the community, not only through work at the individual lodge level, but through the Grand Lodge, and then through Shriners and the other organizations that the other appendant bodies that we partner with. I guess my next question just centers around the connection and camaraderie that Brother Nate had mentioned in passing a little bit, but I kind of wanted to touch on this, partly leveraging my experience, but also, Brother Bill, I was hoping you could talk about Brother Ed Budman, especially during his passing, when we had a massive amount of people participate in his Masonic funeral service, and people that I had, like, you didn't realize how many lives he touched, particularly through the Blood and Organ Donor Club. Can you, in both of your experience, both in Nate and Bill, have you encountered in your travels that kind of camaraderie and connection that you feel like you wouldn't have had otherwise, but then having joined the fraternity, you see all these people that come out of the woodwork, and it's like unreal. At least in my experience, when I saw that, it was overwhelming. So I don't know if you could speak to that a little bit.
Well, it's just really neat, right? When we talk about Lodge, Lodge is made up of a lot of unique individuals. We can have attorneys and doctors on one end of the spectrum, and then we can have just regular, a janitor or someone in public service, right? And we all get together in this commonality of a brotherhood, right? A fraternity. And it's just really neat to be in a lodge group setting and everybody is an equal and on the same terms, right? And what's interesting too, especially with Nathan and myself, we're coming from the suburbs of Philadelphia. We both live in the same town. We carpool together, and it's other time, right? We escape the regular stresses of the world, and this is a time that we can get together and just be able to talk through issues and support each other, right? And that's what's really neat about the Lodge, is how we all come together when there's a brother in need, and how we're able to aid and assist. You know, not just with our Lodge Almoner Fund and throwing money at things, but taking people to doctor's appointments or helping with yard work, or when a brother passes, like in the case of Brother Ed Budman, being able to help his widow, with chores and things that she leaned on her husband for. So that's one of the other things that's very unique and great about our fraternity.
And I think we're being pretty well behaved, to be honest. There's normally a lot of banter that goes on, but because we're on camera, we're being particularly well behaved. But we normally wind each other up. We normally have a good time. Not that we're not having a good time here, but we're just on best behavior. So I hope you keep this bit in, because we do wind each other up quite a lot. And that's part of the joy of this brotherhood, because we know each other now, and we know a lot of the folks who sit next to us and around us, whether they may be the lawyer or the janitor or anyone in between. We're all on an equal footing, and we all wind each other up a little bit. It is a brotherhood, and we're like brothers, and that's what I love. And
the truth of the matter is, Nathan's here really for the meals.
I think I mentioned that earlier. The meals are very good.
Well, that's true. Well, we also try to encourage people, because the thing is, different people will assume different roles in the lodge and as officers, and we do our best to inculcate best practices and help them to aspire to be the best versions of themselves. And then occasionally, yes, there is some banter and haranguing and things like that. But by and large, we are a very professional organization that really want to strive to make sure that people are able to not only carry the tradition forward, but yes, we do have a little bit of fun as well. We do the best we can.
Yeah.
But I guess my other question is about, so I don't know I know you travel a lot for Grand Lodge. I don't know, do you also travel a lot for work? Do you wear any Masonic pins, or have you ever encountered anybody on the wayside who has noticed that you are a Mason? Have you gotten that sort of connection with?
So in answer to your question, I travel a lot, but only within the US now that I live here. So normally it's when I am out for a meal in Oxford with my brothers and I've got a pin on, there will be other Masons who are visiting from a different lodge, and they see your pin and they come over and they introduce themselves. So it's normally it's normally backwards. So rather than me going out and meeting other people come and approach me when I'm out with a meal with my brothers in Oxford. And it is good. And you get some really interesting stories because I'm so new. Every time I meet a new Mason, I ask them, what's it like where you live? What is it like? Now I know what it's like in England because I can talk to my brothers in England, but now I also know what it's like to be a brother in Idaho. And it turns out they have a beautiful potato on their little pin. Who knew? Now I know that.
The more you know,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, I think that's certainly one of the hallmarks of our fraternity in general, is just the fact that you can encounter people from all over, especially here in the city of Philly, because people will travel not only for business but also on vacation, and they'll stop by our lodge and they'll check us out on our website and see if their schedule overlaps with ours, and then they'll come visit, and then it's always remarkable, people from different parts of the country, from different different nations, coming here and kind of comparing notes as to how we do things. And even, I mean, I've seen degree work in different languages here that were held here, and even though I didn't speak the language, when they kind of did their ritual, you could still follow along. And I think that speaks to the kind of international nature of the fraternity, that we can have people who are all over the world, and still there's this commonality and this common, not verbal language, but just, you know, the tenets, the mission, the vision, the values, that the organization just transcends borders. So I guess now that America 250 is coming up, and and this I guess is for Nate, are there any sour grapes with the revolution? Are you going to be participating in your colonial outfit, or are you going to be wearing a red coat in the parade?
I was thinking about wearing the red coat to the
Do you have one?
parade.
Do they give one to you when you turn 18 in England?
This is true. You get no, you don't. And there are no sour grapes. I say it very tongue-in-cheek when I talk about being my favourite colony, and every week there is a sovereign nation that declares its independence or celebrates its independence from the UK. And there are no sour grapes at all, because it's all like it's a long time ago. 250 years is a big anniversary, but 250 years to an Englishman, we've got chairs older than that.
Well, we do, like I said, we do the best that we can. We're still babies. We're not, but we're getting there, and we're doing. We're also going to be doing a lot of things in celebration of the America 250, and we'd certainly love to have you participate with us.
You're very kind to let an Englishman parade with you.
He mentioned something about throwing the tea in the harbor up in Boston. But.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, thank you both, Brother Nate and Brother Bill, for sharing your experiences in Freemasonry in general and Lodge 2 in particular. And thank you all for joining us this evening for the latest installment of the Lodge 2 interview series. We hope to hear from you soon.